Wiggins, and welcome to another webisode of Make Something Happen. I'm here today with my friend iLinda Reese. She's an author, a relationship expert. She has several years in radio and television. She's going to be sharing with us today about some books that she wrote and some new ones coming out, and also regarding domestic violence. Remember, this is Black History Month, and we're going to be learning some things about our current history, remembering the past, but also what can we do today to make our own history for tomorrow. iLinda.
Thank you for inviting me to be here. Such a pleasure.
Yes, you're welcome. So we look forward to hearing for today. We're going to pause for a moment, and have a quick word from our sponsor. We're back again with iLinda. iLinda, let's start off with some of your publications, and or perhaps give us a little background and history on your journey here.
I wrote, Audrey, if I'm looking for a prince, why am I still kissing frogs? Because I was traveling the circuit as I do, and meeting so many women, and discovering that we all had basically the same story.
Mm-hmm.
We were all looking for the same things, and it all just had different faces. And I realized that I can travel the world, but I cannot go into every place.
Yes.
So I wrote the publication, If I'm Looking for a Prince, Why Am I Still Kissing Frogs? And it's for single women.
Mm-hmm.
It has chapters like Alone or Lonely, which are you, because it's okay to be alone. But when you're lonely, you do some desperate things.
Yes, yes.
It has chapters such as, Is a Piece of Man Better Than No Man at All?
What do you say to that?
Okay. Some women will say, well, it depends on what. Okay.
You're going to have to get the book and think about that yourself, answer for yourself.
And then for married people, I find that, first of all, people don't realize marriage is work.
Mm.
Relationships are work. You have to work at it. And I have chapters in there. Who's slipping in your back door, the one you left unlocked?
Mm.
Because after we're in relationships for a while, we start to not do what we used to do. There's a chapter coming out in a new book that says, I know I said I do, but I don't.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
That sounds deep.
Yes. And so we start doing things that we didn't want to do in the first place. Mm-hmm. But we were doing them because we knew this person liked it, and I want to catch this person and get married and all of that. Then once the marriage is older, then we stop doing those things.
Yes.
And it talks about communication, how important communication is. And so that's the reason I wrote that.
Okay.
So that women would really take an account of what it is they want, who they are.
Yes.
And then make the right connection.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's speaking to your relationship expert status.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So tell us, I know you're talking about doing things to get a person in a relationship with us. And and people don't realize those same habits bring success or non-success in your business relationships as well, and I've found that to be true. Mm-hmm. That you really have to build a relationship, get to really know what that person is and what they're about, and just don't do things because you think they like them, because maybe that's not a good fit for you. Perhaps you should go on and wait for the next relationship and build something. Perhaps you met a good friend instead of someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
And you're absolutely right, because when you're doing with your career, sometimes, once again, out of desperation, we take a job or go into a career because it pays good.
Yes, yes.
But that money is only a short-term motivator. So therefore, we're doing things and we're saying things in the interview that get us the job. And then 2 weeks later, the person said, wait a minute, where's the person I hired?
Yes.
You know? And so people don't realize that who you are will come out.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not go ahead and be who you are.
Yes.
So that you'll know it's a good fit when you finally do that.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But then otherwise, like you said, some jobs last longer than relationships.
That's true.
So if you're going to be in something long term, you need to make sure it's the right fit. You know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And life is really all about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's about who you know, and it's about what kind of friend you are to that person.
Yes.
And then where the relationship goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
And networking, people don't realize it's not just about going and handing out your business cards.
That's right.
As many business cards as you can get out there. It's about developing relationships, following it up, and this is a relationship.
Yes,
okay?
Absolutely.
And it's not handing you my card saying, okay, now what can you do for me? No, it's what can I do for you?
Yes. Yes.
And then when I help you to accomplish what you want to accomplish, eventually it could be 5 years down the line. And eventually you're going to say, well, iLinda, what can I do to help you?
Yes, because we're all at different places at different times.
That's right.
Sometimes we're in a state of need, and other times we're in a state of being able to give.
Absolutely.
And definitely can appreciate that.
And we should always be in a state of giving.
Yes.
Because then that's going to come back to you.
Yes, we all have something that we can give.
Absolutely.
No matter what it is, it's
big.
Yeah. Yes.
Your time. You don't have to have money. Your time.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You talked about handing out our business card, even collecting cards. It's important. Sometimes you can know in 30 seconds whether or not you want to be in a relationship with that person, business, friendship, or otherwise, professional. And so that's important. So I think we've had a conversation like that previously, too.
You also have to be careful of that as well. Because when I meet you, what triggers in my brain as to whether I like you or not, what triggers in my brain is a previous experience that you remind me of.
Okay.
So you may not be smiling. And I may say to myself, oh, she doesn't appear very friendly. I'm not going to talk to her. She may be the very person that you're needing in your life to move you to your next level.
Yes.
So your initial reaction, you have to guard it, and you have to filter it through the system that says, I've experienced this type of person before. Well, you may have experienced that type of person before, but you haven't met me.
All right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, I know you. I'm holding here a couple of your books anyway. You alluded to the first one here. If I'm Looking for a Prince, Mama Still Kissing Frogs, and Till Death, and you have a couple other publications that are coming out or actually in the press mill.
Right.
Right now. You want to talk about some of those books?
Yes, the Till Death book is my life experience.
Okay.
Because I was in a relationship, married very young, was married for 23 years. So, someone coming along said, well, how can you give advice on relationships? I was married for 23 years.
I think that qualifies you as an expert. Right. You spent some time in here.
Some time. And then as well as researching and as well as educational, etc., my background. But I was finding myself being diminished in the relationship, devalued. And we as women, sometimes we don't have a voice in our relationships. We don't feel we can be who we are. And especially when my husband was an alcoholic from very young. Didn't know the signs at that time.
Right. Okay.
And so I do a workshop now on the red flags. What to watch for, what to look for. It can be very subtle, and usually it is. And you don't even notice it's going on until there's a statement that says the chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they're too strong to be broken.
Wow.
And a lot of times when we're in a relationship, we start doing things to appease that person. They're not who we are. And so that gets us into that system that we continually diminish and become what someone else wants us to be versus who we really are.
Yes, that's powerful.
And so that's what happens. And then domestic violence, it's a control issue. So if that person feels like you're under control, I got you under my thumb, you're under control. But then when you do things that are outside of that, then they feel they're losing control, and now I need to get you back under control.
Okay.
So I may do a lot of different things. I may be verbally abusive to you. I may be physically abusive to you. I may narrow your world by saying I don't want you to talk to your family when I'm at home or when I don't want to go over your family's home. You know, we have our own. There's a lot of things that are just subtle. And when the relationship is brand new, you accept those things.
Right, because it makes us feel like, oh, well, he loves me or she loves me, and they just want me to, you know, to themselves.
Absolutely, that's it. And so you find yourself getting off the phone. Oh, I hear him in the driveway. I'll call you back. Hanging up the phone. You know, oh, I want to go with you where you're going because I just want to be with you. Who was that on the telephone? Right. You know, a lot of things that you don't even notice are going on until you're entrapped in that. And so for me, it was a matter of my survival. Okay. Yes. And my children. I wrote a chapter called The Silence of the Children because the children are very much affected. So I speak to women and I say, how long are you going to give up your life for this relationship? Yes. And how much are you going to give up? How much will it cost you for it to affect your children?
Yes, yes. And I want you to speak on, even go a little deeper. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want you to go even a little deeper in that, and talking about the relationship with the children, and losing yourself, and then how, you know, at what point, you know, you get there and you realize, and then that journey back. I think that's very key. I want you to speak to our listeners about that. So we'll be right back.
Go beyond, 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 beyond. People of the world, it's a brand new day. Turn it up, up, up. Let the music play. Let's go. No stars too bright that you can't catch the light. This is your day to shine. Your time to win. So raise your cup and drink it in. Why do the same when you can go beyond, beyond, beyond?
New customers are out there looking for what you have to offer. But which site will they find first? Yours or your competitors? Customers use search engines such as Google or Yahoo to find what they're looking for. So a high search engine ranking is vital to give your site a jump on the competition. And that puts you in an ideal position to increase traffic and sales. That's why search engine visibility is essential. Whether you're new to internet commerce or an established pro looking to grow, search engine visibility can increase your site's traffic and sales. It's easy, affordable, and fast. Search engine visibility leads you step by step through actual examples of search engine optimization, hot tips, powerful techniques, best practices and ranking methods. Search engine visibility has it all. But search engine visibility doesn't only help drive new traffic and increase sales. It also helps you monitor, benchmark, and adjust your site's key search engine data. You'll know at a glance which search terms produce strong results and learn to make them even stronger. Search engine visibility even submits your site to hundreds of search engines and online directories automatically. Now you can compare your site to your competitors and pinpoint the top sources of traffic. So are you ready? Then get discovered. Improve your search engine rankings and maximize your traffic and sales with search engine visibility today.
We're back with iLinda Reese, and iLinda, we stopped off talking about domestic violence and being in a marital relationship where that's happening, and how as a woman you can loosen yourself in that relationship, trying to please the man and thinking, falsely thinking or believing that this is all about love, and perhaps it is not, and how children are affected. So you just want to pick up there where we left off?
And Audrey, you know, what's also fascinating about it is when you said marriage relationships, I'm finding even our teenagers are experiencing domestic violence. Domestic is kind of household, but they're in dating situations where they're accepting this from a boyfriend or from, and so it travels through all the ages. It doesn't matter what age a woman is. But it means that when you allow someone else to be your God, little God, then it takes away from who you were really created to be in your destiny. For me, I was finding that he would say things like, oh, you know, I'm roller skating out in the street just having fun with my children. Yes. You need to grow up. You need to, that's childish.
It's anything to bring down your self-esteem.
Absolutely.
So,
you're not, who's going to want you besides me? Wow. And we get into the thinking that, you know, that who's going to want you? You've got 3 children. You've got So,
Yeah.
and we buy into those. So in the book, I also talk about the myths that we believe. Financially, you can't make it without me. You see?
Yes.
And I talk to women and I say, even if you have to go back to where you started all over again, what is it worth to you?
Yes. Yes.
You see?
Yes.
And so I try to even go in and talk to teenagers so that they don't start on that road and that journey and find themselves picking and selecting the same person over and over again.
Yes.
Gwendolyn Goldsby Grant said something that was profound. She said, when a woman is continually finding herself in the same type of relationship, she asks, why am I picking the same man? Because you're the same woman.
That's profound. And I'm familiar with her work. I've been in her workshop. She's an awesome lady.
Yes, absolutely.
That is so profound. You want to repeat that again to our beautiful audience?
Yes. Why are you selecting the same relationship over and over again? Because you're the same woman.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. So how can we make that change, that transition from being who we are, the woman we are, to the woman we need to be?
Well,
and perhaps really want to be. We
the
just don't know how to do it.
The challenge is you are already the woman you were meant to be.
Okay.
It just requires you to go inside and discover. I'm always evaluating myself.
Okay.
I'm always looking into myself and saying, iLinda, why did you just do that?
Okay.
And what is it you really want? What is your passion? What is your desire? Because you see, that's my mission. My mission in life, and I've finally figured it out. It takes us a while sometimes, but I transition you from where you are to where you're going through personal and professional development. Okay. I am a healer, and I heal your woundedness. I've recently wounded myself physically. And now I understand my statement was always that I'm a healer. Yes. And now I'm healing physically as well as emotionally, because we need to always be aware of where we are emotionally. Yes. Yes. And what's motivating us to do certain things. And sometimes we just go through life automatically doing things, not realizing why we're doing it or what's the motivation behind it. Yeah. And so I do that on a constant basis for myself. And then I do coaching, so I can sit and listen to you. And probably if you were able to filter and hear what I'm hearing, you find the answers for yourself. Okay. But because we are in like the forest and the trees, we can advise other people very easily. Oh, yes, I'm an expert. Okay. But then when it comes to our own life, right, we can't figure out. We can't find the path to come out. We can't get no further, absolutely, in front of us. Yes. There's a statement that I love that says, when we are sufficiently tired of getting the wrong answers from society, we'll seek the right answers from the essence of ourselves. Wow. Wow. Because the real you is inside. It's looking from behind the eyes. Okay. You have to go in there. Marion Williams, another relationship expert who's been married 5 times, but says, we've lost the keys to our house. This house? This house? Yes. And we need to find them. Yes. And so that's what I do. I help people find the keys that unlock that hidden place, that place that's been devalued, dismissed, discounted, a lot of dissing. And allows us to become who we are. So now that I have become, my father says, we're not human beings, we're human doings. Okay. Okay. We're always trying to do, but we are human beings. Yes. We are to be who we are. And now that I've discovered that, I've got 4 more books ready to come out. Oh, I can't wait. We have a whole library of iLinda Reese. Yes. And the Don't Talk Speak is because I am the president of Advanced Speakers International. Okay. And we train speakers. And so it's a book of my experience. I've been speaking for almost 19 years. Wow. Okay. Won 2nd place out of 27 countries in Glasgow, Scotland. That's phenomenal. That's fantastic. Yes, thank you. Yes. And so I put and compiled all that, as much as I could. 10 best practices in a book called Don't Talk, Speak, because anybody can talk. Yes. You see it all over. You see it at church. You see it everywhere. Yes. But to be a speaker, to become a spellbinder. You said the key right there, spellbinder. Being able to engage people. Absolutely. Where I can take the audience in my hands and hold them there until I sit down. Yes. Yes. That's the goal. Yes.
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 Looking forward to that. And you have another publication coming out that
Oh,
you're working
yes.
on?
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
I have a children's book
Okay.
called I Want What I Want, and I Want It Now.
I'm an adult, I still want it now.
I want it now, yes. And it chronicles a little child all the way up to the age 15.
Okay.
And it shows how the patterns and how parents allowed her
Mm-hmm.
to get to the stage where she is. I
Okay.
have a book called No More Hoopties. Or Raggedy Things.
Yes.
Talking about how we hold on to things too long.
Mm-hmm.
Things that we know we should have let go of.
Yes.
And we hold on to them, you know?
Now, are you talking about just physical, just material things,
No.
or relationships,
Yes.
thoughts,
Jobs, people, even someone that is leaving life, transitioning life.
Mm-hmm.
And my younger brother, was transitioning life, and we didn't know it.
Okay.
It happened very suddenly. But it wasn't until, I believe, I said to him, I whispered in his ear when we were alone, and I said, if you need to leave,
Okay.
because all of our prayers were for him to stay.
Exactly. That's
We
the
wanna
selfish
hold on.
part. It's
That's
about
the
us.
selfish part.
But
It
it's
was
really
about us.
about him.
It's really about him.
Yes.
And I said, if you need to leave, you can leave. We'll be all right. And that night he left.
Wow.
You see, so we hold on to things. We hold on to jobs. You know, you're walking around from office to office talking about how awful the job is.
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
I used to work with somebody like that. I used to tell them, like, okay, so what are you going to do about it? I mean, our whole day, every week, every month. But yet she was still there.
The sewing circle, I call it. Just going around from place to place.
So what's it so bad, wasn't it? That job couldn't have been that bad.
Couldn't have been that bad. Otherwise, you'd look for something else. You know, relationships that we're in that we know in our heart, we should let go.
Yes.
So that's why I call it No More Hoopties. And it really talks about the time when my car, I had it for 10 years, and I had used her, and I had used her until I used her up. And she just said one day, I was coming from the television studio, and she just said one day, I'm not going into the future with you. This is it.
Then my time stops here.
Every time I pass that spot, I think of her.
Actually, that's a positive thing when you pass that spot. That
Yeah.
reminds you of a time in your life when you finally let go of what that symbolized.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
powerful.
She was just so used. She couldn't wipe away her tears because she had no windshield wipers anymore. She didn't have a voice because her horn had stopped working. But I was still trying.
Push it. Just try to push her.
Yes. And so she said, no, enough is enough.
Okay.
And sometimes that's what we stay in relationships until the other person says enough is enough.
Yeah.
Because they also realize this is not working.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're a nice pair of shoes, but you don't fit.
Exactly. I run you over too many times.
Yes. And so,
put the little insoles in.
yes, it's time.
Let somebody else wear them either throw them away.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh my goodness! You had mentioned the television station.
Yes.
You have a broadcasting career.
Well, yes,
That's
I was
like
on
8 years. Or
yes, 8 years. Village Television. Sam Tidmore saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself, and gave me that opportunity, and was able to do like you're doing, interviewing very interesting people. Met people that were inventors or people that have life experiences that people in the viewing audience could look at them and say, well, if they made it through that, I can make it.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
you want to make
so
a difference.
That's it. You want to make an impact. You want your life to mean something.
Yes.
And that's what I'm really all about. I'm about helping myself, the liberation of my soul and my spirit, and then allowing other people to be liberated as well and be free to be who they are.
That's great. That's awesome. We're going to take one more break, and then we'll be right back. We're going to wrap up with some more ideas and conversation.
Okay.
We'll be back with iLinda Reese. iLinda Reese, thank you again for being on the show. This has been an awesome
you.
conversation. I'm learning things, and hopefully that our audience is picking up on some ideas and things that they can do. Wanted to know, too, you're talking about being on television and having your speakers. What about you? Do you have workshops that you do, seminars you do regularly, or some things you have coming up that
Yes.
we can engage in personally with you?
There's many workshops that are repeatedly asked for, and one is, don't ask me where I've been, ask me where I'm going.
Okay, I like that title.
Yes, and that helps you to reflect on where you've been, but more emphasis on where you're going in life, because we can do that regret.
Yes.
But that keeps you in a place that I say regret is like a grave with both ends knocked out. You're just making a trench, and you're stuck, and you don't know how to move out of that. So that's one of my favorites as well. There's one that's called "It's Easier to Win When You Know Why You're Losing," and talks about our relationship of finding out who we are, and I take you through a process of helping you to evaluate the brain and how it works, and all of that. Relationships, of course. I love helping people figure out what's going on in their relationship. There's one called "Who's Pulling Your Strings? How to Get Back Control of Your Life." Because we're just sometimes like a marionette, being pulled in different directions, and it's not really what we want.
That sounds like people pleasing.
Yes, and we're good at that, people pleasing.
Sometimes it's easier, isn't it?
Yes.
To do what we know we need to do, but we have to get out of our comfort zone. So we can really live on the other side of that.
That's right. And people say, I need to get out of the box. And I say, don't say that. I say, get outside of the norm, because you're not supposed to be in a box in the first place.
Amen.
It has a lid on it. It keeps you limited.
Yes.
But that's not who you were created to be. And so I like to come in, of course, with the domestic violence. I do workshops on domestic violence, helping women to recognize what it is they need to do for themselves. I go into a nonprofit audience regularly, a organization of women that are coming out of the relationships or presently in, and I help them to see what's next for them. You know, how to make a friend of change. Change is the only constant.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And so you should make a friend of change. I decide to go down a different street rather than going. You come to work every day. You go the same way every day.
Yes.
Do something different.
Yes.
Because my dad, Pastor Lawrence Boone, because I just admire him so much. He's just such an admirable man. But he says, never let your good become the enemy of your best. So you can be doing something that's good.
Yes.
But there's a better there, and there's a best. There's different levels. And so I try to do something every day that makes me better. Because it's going to get me to excellence. And so I love coming in front of audiences and watching the audience be lifted by what I'm saying and impacted. And yes.
It's nothing like it.
Nothing like it. It really isn't. I ran into someone being at the hospital, and he walked by, and then he stopped, and he came back. He said, "You were my teacher."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "You know how you yeah, right." And he said, "No, really." He said, "Wait a minute." And he was looking for a pencil and paper because he was going to write an example of what he remembered.
Oh, okay, a diagram or something.
Yeah, something like that. And so then he couldn't find it, and he came back and he said, "Okay, this, that," and he said 3 things. And I said, "Okay, you were in my."
It wasn't a line.
It wasn't a line. It was the truth. And so when you do that and you realize that people do remember what you say, then that just brings tears to my eyes.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
So.
All right.
Yes. So I'm willing to come to you and do workshops, churches, women's retreats. It doesn't, just whatever the genre.
Okay.
I love it.
That's great. So how can we get in touch with you then?
You can reach out to me at 216-323-5601. 216-323-5601. Or you can friend me on Facebook.
Okay, that's always great. Love social media.
Yes, iLinda Reese. Or you can go to IMJ Resources with 2 E's at AOL.com.
Okay, and you'll see that down on your screen here. Okay, thanks. Is there anything else you want to leave our audience with?
I challenge you to be inspired.
Okay.
Life is inspiring. It shouldn't be just day to day humdrum, lay on the couch, get up, go to work. Every year, I do something on my birthday that I've never done in life before. I didn't have to wait till somebody came out with a movie for a bucket list.
Yes,
I do something. Create your own. I jumped out of an airplane.
Yeah, so that's my favorite.
Yes. I do whitewater rafting. I parasailing, hot air balloon. There's so many things to experience.
Yes,
Horseback riding, bowling. Just do something. Don't just sit there. Do something.
Yes.
Follow your passion.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
That's right. I feel like I'm a church. Amen.
Yeah,
That's absolutely the truth.
Yes.
Do something different. Find something. And that's what we will hope that our show does, so that we have speakers, guests that'll come on to inspire us, inspire you to go out and make something happen. Make something happen positive for yourself and your world. Thanks again, Ms. Reese, for being on our show. And,
it's been awesome.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And we look forward to your publications coming out, and we'll make sure that our viewing audience can get a hold of those as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again. You take care, and we'll see you next week for another webisode of Make Something Happen.